Psst, check out my Patreon.
So today's episode features a story about Princess wanting to be recognized as a superhero, even though she's proven time and time again that she's not meant to be one with her current attitude, and has only ever expressed interest in wanting to be a Powerpuff Girl at all in like 2 episodes off the top of my head. I mean, it's kind of surprising that she would even want to be such a thing considering how dense her character is. Dense as in oblivious, that is. She seems more obsessed with money and popularity than being a superhero. I understand the logic in which great antagonists are characters who think what they're doing is right, and they see themselves as the hero when reality sees it differently, and that is certainly at play with Princess's character. I mean, she does all of these horrible things and yet doesn't realize she's the villain, so the shoe kinda fits. But it would help if this hero complex was more at play in other episodes, serving as one of her greatest ideals that motivates the character, because really the only motivation this character ever has is being better than Blossom. What she's looking for here is the attention and reputation that a hero gets, rather than the civic duty one takes. She doesn't want to be a good person who saves the day at all, yet she doesn't realize this. But we'll get into that more once we dive into the episode. As Trouble Clef begins, we are greeted to a late-night talk show opener featuring random screenshots from Muscle Cup, Road Trippin', and an episode that comes later in Season 3 known as Total Eclipse of the Cart. Why are these screenshots here? Because the intro needed to be filled with something, I guess. Still, better than photographs of real people, and good lord, what is with this woman's head? Oh god, do I feel bad for her. Jeez, talk about a headache. Unnamed talk show host here is in the process of interviewing the Powerpuff Girls of all people about their heroism and what it's like to be Townsville's protectors. And many viewers, including Princess Morbucks, are tuning in to hear what they have to say. Princess especially is secretly hoping that they'll give her a shout out because they're such great friends.
What do you girls feel defines a villain?
They do bad stuff to others.
I know, right?
You know, like Princess Morbucks.
What?
Well, she did get a shout out, just not the kind of shout out she was hoping for. This sends her into a downward spiral, questioning her identity and reputation because the girls just called her a villain on national television and she just can't have that. At least, that's the reason that would make more sense for the character. The actual execution makes it come across as though she's just upset that the girls, i.e. other heroes, don't recognize her as being on the same level as them. Personally, I think the former makes more sense as she's more obsessed with her reputation of popularity than her reputation of heroism, but I digress. Fun fact, in this scene where she's contemplating everything, you can see the picture frame Blossom gave her from the episode Poorbuck sitting on the mantle, meaning that these events do take place after that episode, and Princess should have already had the experience of understanding what it's like to be nice. So there's a contradiction.
The Powerpuff Girls think I'm a villain?
You didn't think that?
The acknowledgement of Poorbucks already taking place establishes that she's learned what it means to be good and show kindness to other people. Yet she hasn't acted that way since, so then why she doesn't understand why the girls call her a villain is beyond me.
They're heroes. So that makes me a villain?
I would completely understand if she never knew what selflessness actually was. I mean, I get being so conceited that she thinks she's in the right, but she already learned the difference. She grew. She has the experience. Now that she can tell the difference between what makes a person good, she is actively choosing to behave this way. She doesn't get any sympathy from me. I fight for my friends. Prepare yourself. Next, we get a montage the following morning when Jared shows the Powerpuff Girls what Princess managed to concoct following the talk show the previous night.
Who's the villain when you're fake superheroes? Knocking down buildings, that makes you a zero. And who's gotta build it all up again? Princess Morbucks and a gold dividend.
Boy, talk about a rush job. Gotta give the show credit where it's due though. They really made it feel like this was poorly slapped together by Princess's crew in a matter of hours. It's so uncanny how incredibly skilled this reboot is at doing that. It's almost like the show does this on a regular basis or something.
The Powerpuff Girls
Girls are the villains. Oh, Blossom, Bubbles, and the third one gotta go.
Yeah.
Real superheroes wear a crown, kicking them Powerpuffs out of town.
Seriously though, the third one? Since when did Princess start referring to Buttercup as the nameless third sister?
Look, girls, I won fair and what? Bubbles, Blossom, the green one.
Oh, that's right. Episode 81. You know, maybe if she was doing this since the beginning of the series or something, it would be better received, but isn't this just like doing the same gag that's already associated with the gnat? It's kind of too late to introduce this kind of joke into the series, at least for this character, especially when Buttercup hasn't done anything to really warrant the sudden name change. Is this to make up for her hogging the spotlight all the time? Because this ain't it, Chief. If anything, Buttercup is the sole main character of the whole freaking show. The song itself seems awfully similar to Notorious B.I.G.'s Hypnotize, but good God, did this reboot butcher it and then some.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. The Powerpuff Girls are the villains. Oh, Blossom, Bubbles, and the third one gotta go.
Now, I'm no musical genius, so I sure as heck could be very wrong about this. But based on what my ears are telling me, the flow and pacing of the reboot's version is horrendous compared to the original. The way that the lyrics are sung with the asynchronous pacing just comes off as a cluttered, crammed mess. It's like Blossom, Bubbles, and the third one gotta go. It's all over the place. You're cramming way too much into that third breath. As you can probably guess, the thing that bothers me most about this music video isn't the stock image or the terribly written dialogue that's crammed in there with the excessively overflowing amount of extra syllables.
Who's the villain when you're fake superheroes? Knocking down buildings, that makes you a zero.
Seriously, how do you listen to this and not think it's bad? No, rather, it is the fact that all of the students in the school form a mob mentality against the Powerpuff Girls, all over a shitty rap song that slanderizes them. Forget the Wrinkle Gruff Gals, forget Blue Ribbon Blues, forget Buttercup versus Math. Actually, I would like to forget that one. Forget Never Been Blissed. Who cares if the girls have rightfully saved these kids plenty of times when a catchy song just came out? It's so catchy, let's just treat them like shit. This sends Bubbles over the edge, and I'm talking almost Splitsville Blossom levels of over the edge.
What? Huh? I do like
Which is kinda warranted, especially because these students constantly mistreat and bully the girls for the stupidest of reasons. It's not like these are blatantly proven facts that Princess is spewing out.
Blossom pretends she knows the facts, but in reality, smarts is what she lacks. Facts don't meow.
Says you?
Oi, have they learned nothing from Presidential Punch-Out? Look, I get that the episode is trying to show how media can influence somebody's perspective on people, but anybody with half a brain would stop and say, hey, wait a second, this isn't true. Where's the evidence? I want some facts. And we've clearly seen examples in which these things have already been disproven. Like, sure, some people may be this dumb, but they aren't all this dumb. Or am I supposed to believe that Jared of all people is the sole exception here? Later that night, even the professor turns against them.
Mojo goes on a crime spree and they don't even call us?
Time to serve up some violence.
I don't think so, young lady.
Pardon the interruption, but for the sake of saving myself the trouble of having to deal with copyright, I just wanted to take some time right here to point out the fact that Buttercup said she was gonna go serve up some violence, which we all knew wasn't gonna happen anyways, but she is directly blocked by the idiot dad character who has deliberately put the girls into violent situations before. I'm not saying that this is an allegory for something, but it sure as heck comes across that way. That's all.
Now get your butt out of town. I'm sorry, girls. It's the song. It's just so catchy.
Fuck you, dude. But this doesn't faze the girls, and they decide to fight fire with fire by making their own pop music video that will win the town back and onto their side.
She must have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed. Her hair is puffy, it's puffy hair. It's on top of her body. Ew.
Yeah, that's not working out for them, but thanks to Bubbles' editing magic, she's able to fix things up in a jiffy. Some undefined amount of time later, it is revealed that Princess is holding a concert in light of her recent album release, Rumors, but that is quickly blindsided by the Powerpuff Girls swooping in, stealing the stage, and sniping the crowd away from her with a classic hit song that totally isn't inspired from something else. Yep, totally original. Yeah, no. Actually, this is an inferior copy of a popular hit song, but that is only one of its many shortcomings. Like, sure, we could argue that the girls have already been established to sing in things like the Pow Factor campaign that was going on in 2016, or even Love Makes the World Go Round from the original, but how about the fact that Electric Buttercup exists? You know, the episode where the girls were going to compete in a battle of the bands? How are they good enough to play instruments in that episode, but here they can't even keep on beat? And why the hell is Buttercup on drums if she's such a guitar nut? And why are they using toy instruments when they had easy access to real instruments in the past? Buttercup still has that Necronium diamond guitar she got from Thrash, does she not? Or how about the fact that Bubbles magically takes that footage of the three of them screwing up and turns it into this? New costumes, new props, new footage, new instrumentation, entirely new lyrics? That's not how video editing works. You can't create new footage by editing. You can only work with what already exists.
Wow, this sounds great. No, it's not!
Well, what do you know? Looks like Princess and I can at least agree on one thing. God, this is a case where less information would have made it better off, because if the girls were just shown to be planning something and then we cut forward in time straight to the Matadome, which is what the episode actually refers to as this Coliseum, we could fill in the blanks ourselves. Sure, some of us would still be like, how the hell did the girls make that song and video so fast? But it would be far less problematic than this. Like, yeah, it's great that Bubbles' video editing is referenced from 15 Minutes of Fame, but there are so many logical leaps that spawn from it. And that's not even the worst of it.
Flying away, way up in the sky, but not before we rebuild your buildings.
When have the Powerpuff Girls ever rebuilt Townsville's buildings? What? There has never been a single episode in either the original or the reboot that has ever shown the girls to be the ones that rebuild Townsville. Guess it doesn't matter now, since the crowd is magically on their side because they're sheep, easily manipulated by the slightest stimulation because their pea-sized brains can barely comprehend the difference between manufactured garbage and genuinely passionate art. Thus, the girls win back the town without even having to directly insult Princess in their music. I won't lie, it's a good message to learn when it comes to defending oneself, as personal attacks are usually a huge sign of weakness in making an argument. Like, if you ask me, you should never have to resort to insulting the other party, and if you do, it just kind of shows that you don't have a leg to stand on. Personally, insulting the other side doesn't prove you correct in any sense. But while I did say the message is good, it's just too bad that they contradict this in plenty of other episodes where the girls do directly insult her.
Time to sling some mud.
Aw, yeah.
More bucks is cheating, and it's ruining what's supposed to be a fun and fair game that determines who is the greatest superhero in the world! Yeah!
Aw, that lady ruined my cupcakes.
Sorry, Barry. More bucks is just a big meanie.
As well as that initial jam session that the girls had before Bubbles even fixed everything.
She must have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed.
Okay, so what prompted the girls to not insult Princess if that's what they were originally going to do? What changed their minds? Or was there no genuine motive behind including this lesson in the episode? Was the lesson just slapped in there at the end? Because I don't see how an episode that preaches this sort of message would allow its preachers to partake in said act at all, or if they did at least allow said preachers to learn why it's wrong before preaching. This whole fiasco has Princess resort to pulling out her indestructible music mech, which she uses to nearly slaughter both the girls and the civilians trapped inside the arena. Gotta give them some credit though. I love the idea of making a microphone a giant mace. That's actually a really creative idea. The girls quickly spring into action and we are presented with some legitimate combat between the four of them. Though luckily the girls managed to destroy the mace with their I-beams quite easily.
My indestructible music mech! Did she plan that? Oh, that's it!
Stop calling things indestructible if they can be destructed. You clearly never passed first grade English. Princess deserves to lose if she's never going to learn what the word indestructible actually means. And she does, as the girls defeat her with ease using a Green Lantern power team-up move, which in turn saves the day and destroys Princess's giant golden mech, which is actually not indestructible. They even rub some much deserved salt in the wound when they tell her she's not a hero, nor is she ever going to become one. But despite this, a random stranger girl we've never seen before and will never see again comes in and tells Princess that she looks up to her as a villain and wants to be just like her when she gets older. Oh, now isn't that a great message to take away from this? I guess we should all just start looking up to villains now if we like them, because they're really not all that bad. Nope, they are perfectly good role models. Let's all follow in their footsteps if we so choose. Trouble Clef really ain't all that great. It has some good components buried in there with the action and whatnot, but really it's just another one of those background characters forcefully cast out the girls for no real reason episodes. I really dislike when the reboot does this, especially in episodes where Princess and rapping are involved. It's not as bad as something like, say, Super Sweet Six, for example, but it's still not a good Princess episode. Was there potential here? Not really. This feels like one of those filler episodes that simply exists to meet the 40 episode quota and nothing more, and there's nothing else that needs to be said besides that. Overall, I mean, I finally have respect for this show in the sense that it's introducing a bunch of episodes where the villains actually try to do something evil for their own personal gain, but it really shouldn't have taken 3 seasons for us to finally get to this point. This is like a minimum requirement that should have been here from the very start. Even with these mediocre episodes, season 3 is still starting out about as strong as season 2, but that's not much of an accomplishment, now is it?